Right. Without further ado, thank you for coming to today's webinar. I'm Kathy Ma, your host today. We'll talk about how to search, evaluate, and connect on thomasnet.com. A little bit about me. It's funny, isn't it? I'm talking to you from New York City, and you'd be like, Kathy, your accent is so weird. Yes, I sort of came from the Harry Potter land. I lived in London and worked from London for about 15 years, and I met my husband there, and romance, you fall in love, and then you move across the country. So here I am. I've been at Thomas for 3 years, and my expertise is about using data, content, and insights to tell stories. More importantly, how we can use community intelligence to grow businesses and, well, in the last 3 years, overcoming national crisis. Actually, it's international. And we have Mariah, our producer. Mariah, could you introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Mariah Hauk, the Audience Development Lead here at Thomas. And part of what I do is create educational content like surveys, articles, and this webinar. So I'll be monitoring the back end here to make sure everything goes smoothly. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the questions box, and Kathy and I will try to answer them as we go along. If not, we'll get to them at the end. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Kathy. Thanks.
Thank you, Mariah. So we'd love to hear a little bit about you. So before we jump in and talk about Thomas and the 3 things you can do, search, evaluate, connect on Thomas, Mariah's going to queue up a quick poll so you can tell us a little bit more about yourself. It would take 2 seconds. Yeah, Wally, yes, the slide deck will be sent at the end of the presentation, either today or tomorrow morning. So don't worry. Right, wow, I can see that a majority of you are in general manufacturing. Let's give it 2 more seconds. Awesome, so over 80% of you voted. Let's share the poll results with everyone on the call. Thank you. So actually, before the start of this webinar, I took a look at the distribution. I saw quite a few of you are in supply chain, many engineers, a lot of manufacturing business owners, as well as consultant, and I think I saw a few academics, but it's interesting. Sometimes you give me an academic email and you could be a procurement person in a university, or you're an academic. So whatever your background, really welcome to today's webinar. Without further ado, I just want to give you guys a quick introduction about Thomas and why you should really rely on our free resources and our network of communities. To start with, we have been around for over 123 years. We started with a gigantic Thomas Green Book, so a little bit like Yellow Pages, where whatever you need to source back in, the early 1900s, you buy a collection of Thomas Register, and then you can get connected to the right suppliers through old school connection. But of course, in the last 20 years, we've become completely digital and data-led. And thomasnet.com is our supplier network, where we have over 500,000 USA and Canadian suppliers across 76,000 categories, which I'll spend a bit more time talking to you about today. And another really amazing hidden feat of Thomas is we are a little bit like the digital marketing and sales partners for manufacturers. Believe it or not, 83% of North American manufacturers has less than 50 staff in their whole organization. So Thomas, we are their outsourced technical partner. We create their websites. We help them with their content marketing. We train business owners in their understanding of how to follow a manufacturing lead and the quoting process. As such, we also have another division on the lower right corner. You will see that we have this division called Product Data Solutions, where we power the world's biggest manufacturers, like Motion Industry, Timkins, all their online e-catalog that require a lot of configuration and on-the-fly CAD file generation. We power that technology behind the scenes. So see us as a bit like a industrial Shopify on steroid. And finally, we aggregate and anonymize all of these insights, and we democratize our intelligence back at you, to our community. At the end of this presentation, I'll share with you the latest finding from our COVID-19 sixth survey where we talk to over 6,000 manufacturers and ask you guys, what are the biggest challenges? How are you overcoming them? And we then share all the intelligence in real time back with you. So that's us. And what is interesting about Thomas is we do have 1.3, now close to 1.4 million active registered users across gigantic companies at the Fortune 500. But as I said, the bread and butter of Thomas is also what we provide for in terms of the smaller manufacturers as well. And at the beginning of this presentation, I alert that we do have 560,000 suppliers on Thomas. And within these suppliers and throughout today's presentation, I will demonstrate to you how we structurally organize these suppliers and how you can access all of the firmographic information for free at the fingertip of your laptop or your desktop. And there are over 70,000 categories within thomasnet.com, from alloy to sync. You will find someone that you need to talk to really easily. And what are our specializations? I get this question a lot. So traditionally, thomasnet.com is really strong in industrial, OEM, distribution, wholesale. If you're looking for a steel manufacturer made in USA, you come to Thomas, right? But recently, especially because of the pandemic, we're seeing a crazy increase in indirect spend that are an important topic for us. So what do we mean by indirect spend? Think about when you are, for example, creating a plane. All the raw materials, all the parts that goes into the direct production of a plane are the indirect spend. But you also need to actually organize your company, and there are a lot of parts and materials that are essential for you to run your business, from the Dell computer to the Ethernet that help your shop be internet enabled, to your staff, workers' comp insurance. All of those are indirect spend. And with the pandemic, what we notice is there are a lot of reshoring activities around trying to really, for manufacturers trying to enable local sourcing for both direct and indirect spend. And we'll spend a bit more time to talk about that. And for suppliers, as we already mentioned, we really have very close relationships with OEMs, the brands like, the 3M, the Caterpillars, and the distributors, custom manufacturers, and service companies. Now, this is why you're here today. It all starts with thomasnet.com. And I know if I were to run a poll and ask you guys, how did you sign up and got into this webinar? It's probably because you Googled or you searched something and you register on Thomas and you started being bombarded by me with all the email that try to educate you on what you can do on thomasnet.com. Now, the reason why I'm excited that you actually showed up is because sometimes I can't believe the amount of intelligence we're giving away for free. And a bit of Thomas, really, I've been here for 3 years, and our brand mission is that we believe growth in manufacturing is growth for all. And we believe it's important for you to access all the information that I'm showing at no cost to you. So the three really important aspects of our structured data, let me talk it through a bit slowly. So number one thing is when you're sourcing, especially right now, the supply chain and the trucking industry are kind of both not so reliable, you may want to start looking for closer regional suppliers. So first thing, we actually codify not just the headquarters location of all the suppliers in Thomas, but also their serving radius. So you can plug in your postcode and you can find manufacturers that serve your radius to make sure that your procurement briefs had a higher chance of satisfying your buying needs. The other really important aspect of it is with all the new demand coming up and the fact that we're seeing a shipment from Asia went up from 1,500s now to 20,000, we understand that there are a lot of new businesses coming up, right? And there are really interesting firmographic data point that you can use to help validate your sourcing a kind of background check. And the key data point we have are, number one, revenue, so estimated annual sales of a company. Usually the bigger it is, the more reliable they are. Year founded, again, the longer the company exists, the more likely that they're good partners. Employee counts, but also like keywords that explain what are the company's expertise and capabilities. And finally, for those of you who are engineers, you may need ITAR certification or ISO certificates for you to make sure that the suppliers can comply with the level of standards that you need for your products and parts. We have all that structured data as well. So without further ado, I'm going to talk you through how you're actually going to access all the data and download it for your needs. So it's 3 simple steps. Number 1, search. So just like, every internet product from Amazon to Google, you can go into thomasnet.com, type in any industrial keywords, and you'll see tremendous amount of information at your fingertips. We'll go through that part first. Secondly, this is the more interesting part, especially for the procurement groups and engineers. We have a lot of interesting data points for you to pick the manufacturers and shortlist them, but also the tools on thomasnet.com for you to then pick the suppliers that you want to talk to, save it into different shortlists, organize it however you want, but also you can download all the data and push it directly into your ERP if you need. And finally, you can send RFIs directly from thomasnet.com and ask for more information if you like, but also we have a hidden Easter egg, which is if you recently switched spend categories or you're really struggling to find the right suppliers, we have a free custom quote service that I'll talk to you about in a bit, where you can submit an actual NDA to Thomas, including the parts and materials you want, and we'll suggest up to 5 suppliers for you through our engineering team. So let's begin. Search. So I talk a lot about thomasnet.com, and I'm actually a visual learner, so let me actually grab thomasnet.com on a browser and show you exactly what you need in order to find the right suppliers for you. So here we go. Mariah, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, I sometimes like randomly say her name and see if she's paying attention to me, and I've never tripped her, so she is the best. Right, this is thomasnet.com, and you may say, hey, Kath, I am actually working for a giant windmill farm, and I need to find the world's biggest bearings. So if you can spell, I can. You will see that on Thomas, the easiest step, number 1, is to think about what you need to search for and look for the items. And as you can see for bearings, we have about 1,500 suppliers on the page. Holding my breath here. Right, thank you, thomasnet.com. When you're demoing, sometimes things can go really funny. So fingers crossed, everything is going to be really smooth today. So within the kind of crazy short list of all the bearing suppliers, I want to talk you through a few of the most important filters, right? Number 1 is you actually can search within the locations of where the suppliers are by their registered address, which is really important. And another really important aspect of it, as I said, is you can also put in keywords and search within results. So for example, if you're looking for a specific brand, like say I'm interested in Etna, I want to say Etna. I needed to actually look for something next time I can spell. You actually can type in brand names, and now immediately it drops to 20 suppliers. So imagine we basically just saved you around 130 clicks on Google in trying to find, first of all, supply and bearings and then carrying the right brand, and it's all right in front of you. Now, another really interesting tool is that you can clear any filters at any time. So I'm just going to click clear all, so that we're back to the 1,500 results. Now, in addition, if you're new to, say, sourcing bearings, I want to show you a really important Easter egg, which is when you click the More button in our taxonomy, as I mentioned in the beginning of this call, we have 76,000 items on Thomas. And you really can see, within bearings, all the different types of bearings, what do they do, who actually manufacture them. That's another really great way, especially for the sales and marketing folks, to find the key players in, like within one tool. So let me swing back. You can always use the back button to go back to where you are. And now let's talk about a few really helpful filters. You will see on Thomas throughout our website that there are 3 badging systems right now. Thomas Verified, Thomas Registered, and the COVID-19 response system. So these are our partners on Thomas, where they engage with Thomas, and we are the marketing partners. And within the paying suppliers, they have additional content on their profile. Some of them has their whole product catalog uploaded on Thomas. Some of them actually even have their websites built by Thomas, as well as their e-commerce capability. So these are the indicator that they are a paying customer of Thomas. And you will see that across our website. I'm so excited about this new feature on Thomas. There's something called factory tour. So I'm sure I don't have to, rehash the whole COVID-19 craziness where it's way more difficult to travel and meet people. One of the really quick pivots Thomas has done is to send our production team and actually film the factory of our customers, right? So this is super cool where when you play this video, you will see that there's an overview about the factory, and you can see, screen grab pictures, the insides, the content, and the machining capability right in your face. So this is one really cool example. And some of the videos are kind of highly produced with great quality drone videos and editing. I came from a publishing background, so I just really love how, let me make it bigger. So this is Monroe. You even it's almost like you're welcome into the factory, and you get a tour about what they're capable of doing. And you can see that the people are real. That's my favorite part. And it is keep going. You can see that it's almost like you're having a meeting with them and their founder on the table. And then you get to see the machining capability, the size of the shop, even the cranes. So everything is actually at your fingertip while you're going through our search results. Now, to the procurement professionals from the government, as well as big companies, you may have a spend goal for diversity and ownership. I'll have a separate section in a bit to talk a little bit more about that. But specifically, you actually can do quick filters and see who are the companies that are within your diversity span budget. And we also have other certifications and registration. So as I mentioned, ITAR, ISO, sometimes if you're white label manufacturers in the nutraceutical sector, you will see FDA clean room. So all of these filters are available for your needs as well. And finally, you can see by state what are the locations our suppliers serve. So this is a really comprehensive view of what our suppliers do. And one thing that you need to know is if you want to clear one of your filters, you can just uncheck it. I'll give it a few seconds, and you will see that the options that I just showed you, including the company type, as well as the quality certifications, will increase inordinately, because this is from 1,500 manufacturers, no longer the 11 that has factory tool. So now that we are seeing this view, some of you may ask, hey, you have Buy American Act and Made in the USA. What are those? So within a pandemic, there's one really strong feature that I heard from our engineers, that their companies now actually want them to source from North America, because you just sometimes don't know how long a shipment would take from Asia these days. So we actually spoke to our manufacturers and asked them to certify and write a letter of intent on the origins of their raw materials and the production process. So for the manufacturers, and I'm going to check this box, that self-declare, but through verification with Thomas, that they have products made in the USA, they will be given this special filter. So let me do a quick click. And now you see out of the 1,500 suppliers, there are 67 of them that are self-proclaimed to have made in USA capability. So, right, let me actually continue on the PowerPoint presentation. And to recap what I just talked you through, because I know there's a lot of information that we just covered. So yeah, we started on thomasnet.com, and there are 3 things we need to do. Number 1 is just going onto the search feature, so you can type in fasteners, bearings, anything you can think of in the industrial space. Once you have done that, I kind of gave you an overview where you have the search result of the company. For example, you will see all the firmographic data that I already talked about. For example, the years founded, as well as the estimated annual sales revenue, number of employees, where are they based. And I demonstrated to you within the search results one key really good tip I have is if you're looking for a specific OEM or brand, you actually can use the search within result box to filter the brand name. And as I mentioned, if you or your company is a supplier and you wanted to actually have that made in the USA badge added onto your profile on Thomas, you can do it for free by going into this form. And Mariah and I will circulate the deck. And I now hear you. Hey, Kathy, first of all, can I list my company for free on Thomas? The answer is absolutely yes. The second question is, will I be able to add this made in the USA badge that I am qualified for free? The answer is also yes. So do feel free to go ahead and sign up for a free listing and fill in this form for us to process your listing. Because I do think this is a time where if you're able and capable and want to, put up your hand, because you must have heard that, you know, the infrastructure plan has just gone through and it's about $1.2 trillion. And there are a lot of investment coming downstreams on construction, telecom, EV, electric vehicle, advanced battery, packaging. So I'm also a bit of an academic and policy nerd. So any one of you, if you'd like to stay in touch, we have an amazing kind of ways to, we have a couple of solutions to help you stay on top of these industrial news, and I'll share a bit more with you in a bit. But back to this, I was recapping. Yes, you can sign up to have your company qualified for the Made in the USA certification. Now, we also covered that you can click the state check boxes, and really if you're in, say, Ohio and you're looking for specific bearings and you only want to find suppliers that serve Ohio, you can just, you know, click the more button, click Ohio. Now, it's slightly unfortunate that you cannot click more than one state at a time. I apologize for this. I know this is a feature that everyone wants, and it is at our top agenda. And to recap, also, we have supplier validation badges, and they include Thomas Verified, Thomas Registered, and the COVID Response. As I mentioned, they are the partners of Thomas for the first two items, where they work with Thomas to ask us to be the marketing and sales partner, and we add additional information for them and host it on thomasnet.com. So in a way, see us a bit like, really like Shopify. So if you have thomasnet.com profile and you haven't even got a chance to invest in your own, you know, like advanced e-commerce website, you actually can substitute your e-com capability to a certain extent with the catalog on thomasnet.com. And obviously, there's a crazy story I want to tell you. It will only last for 2 minutes. So in 2020, I actually I have an Asian background. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. So I took my mother to Tokyo because my grandma passed away. That's crazy, long story. But I want, you know, the first holiday without her mother to be with us, right? We were in Japan, we were having fun. And suddenly everyone was sending us a message. It was in January that, you know, can you bring some masks home? And I was like, well, Hong Kong is actually a mask wearing culture. It's really weird that, you know, my family in Asia couldn't get masks. So I was like, that's easy. I'm just going to go to Amazon and eBay, whatever, like order some and send home. By January, the whole country, USA, has already run out of PPE. And the moment I came back from Hong Kong, the first thing I did was, I'm going to self-quarantine for 2 weeks because no one knows what this is. And but what is more important is that through Thomas data, we were able to see an inordinate surge on disinfectant, and all the first and second tier PPE sourcing, including polypropylene, machinery, and fabric. So as a result, our team couldn't sleep in March. By then, it's like, okay, how can we help all the first responders and everyone really? So we kind of sent a digital flare, an email campaign to all the suppliers, including you guys. And believe it or not, within 2 weeks, we had close to 2,000 suppliers volunteering to speed up the supply chain. Many of them actually pivoted, got certified, and started creating their new line of N95 OSHA compliant masks within months. And I think if there's anything we should be really proud of in this country, think about manufacturing as an invisible fabric and think about the miracles that happened in the last 2 years, from the speedy distribution of PPE to the fact that we can have our third dose of vaccine if we want to. So I'm there's no politics here. I'm not talking about politics. I'm just talking about the sheer amount of ingenuity and drive in this country. It is just really beautiful to watch. So yeah, back to this. That's my 3-minute story. We ended up having close to 4,000 suppliers, and even FEMA, NASA, Raytheon, plus local government, and even orphanages are using this system to get donation supply and kind of big orders from hospitals. So really proud of Team Thomas, but more importantly, really proud of all of you on this call, because we work so hard, but all the object that people use and see, I feel like it's like an invisible job that we do. Anyway, we can talk about that over coffee or a glass of wine. But back to this, as I already mentioned, if you're looking for specific quality certifications, you can expand this really powerful filter, and you can type in anything you need from ISO or ITAR certificates. Now I'm just gonna actually show you, and I've already done so. When you look at the final search results, there are all the diversity options you can click, and within this GIF you can see that I'm basically filtering veteran-owned business within the COVID search results. I've already demoed this, so I'm going to skip it, but you can actually filter everything by certificate as well. Now, I'm going to actually spend more time talking to you about this particular special tool on Thomas. It's called Diversity Search, but it's a great way for you to really get a sense of the structured data of Thomas. So using the examples I've used, I'm going to type in fasteners and click search here. And you may be like, hey, Kathy, you already showed me the homepage search. What's the difference? So this is, as a data nerd, I love structured data. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is what I love the most. So within the search result that you saw from the homepage of Thomas, you don't really get to see all the search results under ownership diversity or quality certifications in one page. Say, for example, you're thinking, okay, I'm interested in looking for minority-owned businesses, and you immediately can see there are 38 of them under the Small Business Agency definition MBE, or veteran-owned businesses, and there's 3 different definitions by different certifying agency. So the SBA one, we have around 118 veteran-owned businesses. So everything is kind of at your fingertips, and you can check, multiple of them, and then you can hit apply, and then you will get the results that's similar to what we saw, but exactly how you like to have it filtered. The other aspect of it is, I talk about certificate or certifications for a few times now. For those of you who might be, academics or you're students, you just really try to understand, get a sense of what are the more popular filters and certifications in our industry. This is another really good way for you to learn. You can pop over here and you will see that, oh, okay, so ISO seems to be a really important certification, and you can see 9,000 is the one that's really 9,000 and 9,001 are the 2 most popular certifications. So for the more seasoned procurement professional, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That will save you hours of digging through 16 pages per website from a random Google search, because all the data is at your fingertips. You literally can just hit one of these checkbox and click apply selection to view suppliers. Say it 6 times, Kathy. And you will see all the diverse quality fasteners suppliers within the same interface. And here, if you want to apply additional filters, say I want to find only Ohio fastener suppliers, then you can filter the serving radius, or you actually can plug in the zip code of your location and search within the radius. So I'll repeat, this one is actually where the company is based, and the lower left corner is actually the radius they serve. Now, okay, yeah, Flora is asking, she's currently using Alibaba. Interesting. I want to start using US suppliers and manufacturers. How do I look, for example, chimney suite, dog collar, and candle manufacturers? Right, so it is really simple. It's exactly like how you would perform a search on any any digital company. So say I'm back to the homepage, and if you're looking for a candle white label manufacturer, you can see that there are 245 suppliers. And now you may be like, okay, I'm actually really curious. I only want to find manufacturers or distributors. I want to find people who can create white label candle. That's exactly what I wanted. Say, you can click the manufacturer button, and it will kind of drop the 240 to 178. And maybe, you know, you have another question, Kath, I'm really interested in someone that can do private label. So I want to put my brand logo in it, plug it in, and the search result will filter more for you. Takes 2 minutes. Yep, and now it's down to 16 suppliers. Again, we probably save you 15 minutes of searching on Google and trying to find US specific. Now, there's always this question, right? I want to only find made in the USA suppliers because I don't want someone who end up manufacturing the candles in China also, right? So here, this is I'm so excited about this feature. Like I really fought really hard to put some resources in putting it out. So you can now see, really, this is a holy grail. Now you have 5 white label candle suppliers. They are manufacturers and they have made in the USA capability. There you go. Okay, so Tony has a question as well. Oh, Tony, you have a question about food supplier certification. Let me get back to you on that. But before I jump in, okay, let me just think about what is the, okay, let me just put in food additives. So there are around 104 suppliers in there. I don't think I recall the certification you're after. Oh yeah, we do. So, but it's only because I never looked for it. So yes, Tony, the answer is we have food certification. So SQF certified and FSSC, they're both available. Like I said, what you saw, yeah, Tony, it's kind of cool, right? I like the all cap cool. Yes, and some of you may ask me, hey, Kath, you show me I can do any open search, you know, within the big box when I log onto thomasnet.com or the top left-hand corner. But you showed us the really interesting diversity filter. How can I find it? Or the quality filter. So again, let's say I'm just browsing on Thomas on the homepage. When you scroll to the bottom, you will see that there's this, where did it go? Diversity link. I know we love hiding the best features in Thomas, in my opinion. And I'm also going to use Tony's example, and I'm going to put food additives. Wait, did I spell it wrong? I always kind of, for the longest time, I mispronounced like additives as like addictive, which is not good. All right, so Tony, this one is for you. So you will see that you actually can see the structured data for the product you're after. Right, so Danielle, okay, great question. Are these industry or drop shipper, or do we have to click a category to specify that? Also, is there a way to see what the fees is for drop shipping? Danielle, you know what's super interesting? We get this request all the time. So we're thinking about creating a drop shipping special filter because, believe it or not, there are certain manufacturers that are gigantic and they don't like doing drop shipping, but there are smaller manufacturers, such as I see a lot of interest in pet food, CBD, children clothing, athleisure clothing. They do drop shipping, but we're not structurally exposing those data point yet. But really good feedback, keep them coming. So I'm going to share that with our product team. So great. I think we spent quite a bit of time talking about search. So we have step 2, and this is for the data nerd on this call. This is really fun. Let's talk about structured data. So I kind of just show you how to search on thomasnet.com, and let me actually swing back onto our search result and I'll give you an example. So let's use Tony's example and see, okay, from the Foundation for Food Safety Certification, I'm going to apply selection to view suppliers. And yeah, actually, I really love Come Alive Organics. I met with their owners and they're so helpful during the COVID-19 crisis. So when you're evaluating a supplier, you actually can click to call them. You can go to the website. And for the Thomas partners, you can actually click a request a quote button, and they will get a trigger email into their inbox, and they will get your RFI, your information, and then they can get back to you through their own email. They'll call you back. And when you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will see what I coin a structured data. So what do I mean by that? At Thomas, we have a gigantic team of supplier analysts and engineers. So what they would do is they will actually go to the supplier's website, but also in many instances, they will actually call up the owners or senior staff of the company and verify the actual products and services they provide. With that, they are able to actually add all of these items into this structured data that you can see. And you will also see a lot of the questions Tony was asking, what are they capable of? The information is here. Now, there is a really cool product, especially for you working for bigger companies. I always joke that you want to show your boss you work really hard, right? But sometimes Thomas actually give you a great tool for you to be seen as an epic researcher. All you need to do, as I already showed you, is to click the Create a Profile button. I just click the Create a Profile button, and now you will see that I'm generating an awesome supplier profile report, and it's being processed at the moment. It takes around 15 minutes usually. So let me show you one example report that I've prepared, like a great, those baking TV show where I pre-bake the cake bases. Now I can bring the cake bases and show you how I'm doing the frosting. What can I say? I'm the queen of weird metaphors. So, but the point being is when you're on the supplier summary page, you can actually click the generate a report button. Again, at no cost to you, as long as you're a freely registered user, you will get a supplier profile summary report. And this report is insane. So it basically sums up all the data that you saw, but in a PDF format. So you see the company, their address, a phone number, description about who they are, their capability, how we classify the supplier, not just within the heading that you discover them through, but every other product categories that they're capable of delivering. So look at this. This is so helpful, right? And in addition, you have all the mailing address and you know where the plant location is. For those of you, again, like Tony may be super seasoned, but if you're new to the sector and you may be like, I really don't know, my ISO from ITAR certification, there's a glossary here. So if your boss actually asks you, hey, what's up with the SBE? What does it stand for? And you flip down, this report is like right there for you. And you're the smartest person in the room with 3 clicks. Yeah, Anthony's laughing. Yes. So, oh, Paul, yes, I'm missing how you generate the cool screen. Okay. Yes, there's a recording, and I know there's so much to show, so sometimes I speak quite quickly. I apologize for that, but let me walk back and talk you through one more time how we get to this report. So let's say I am on Bearings supplier pages, and I did all my fancy filters, right? And you now found this company called GGB, and you really like the company from the quick description. So here, you can actually click through the search result. And by the way, I really like when you guys ask questions like, Kathy, you're a little fast. And I can do it again, because if one person is asking, probably 20 people are thinking the same thing. So Paul, I'm now on this profile page, and hidden, again, best feature, on the lower right-hand corner of all of our suppliers being listed, you will see the request report button. And I click the report button, and it will take you to the sign in page. And I'm just gonna quickly sign into my free Thomas account, wait for a few seconds, and it will say, hey, reports are available within 30 minutes of request. And we'll also send you a confirmation email when the report is ready. So as you can see, yeah, I should have 2 pages. There's a little bug here. Actually, I have multiple accounts on Thomas, so I think I'm breaking Thomas. But in a few minutes, you will see the report coming into your inbox. Right. So, and Craig had a really interesting question. Is there a way a company can advertise on Thomas as having both domestic and international manufacturing? Absolutely. Yes. So what is interesting, Craig, is that sometimes, when you're on Thomas, when you have the additional certification, such as Made in the USA filter, it doesn't prevent people looking for international suppliers from looking for your business or your business showing the search result. Because honestly, it's just answer two use cases. One use case is I may want to apply the filter as someone looking for Made in the USA product only, and I'll do that, and you will show up within a shorter list of suppliers. So the probability of your company being discovered by that use case higher. But actually that doesn't negate if you have the international capability for people to not apply that filter to see your results as well. Right, so Flor, what is the cost to access all these things Thomas offer? Is there a cost associated with being a registered user? There is no cost. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Maybe we should look into it, Flora, now that you asked. No, every time I do this webinar, it's like, are you giving all of this for free? Yes, we are. I haven't even got to the point where we allow you to download all the data, which I'm going to get to shortly. So let me swing back to the PowerPoint deck to recap a couple of things. So I basically showed you and walked you through when you were on the search result, you click and look at a company profile, and you will see all the structured data on the page. And there are three really interesting icons you'll see on the page, where when you see this little icon, you can actually even download a certificate or a certification from the company. And sometimes if we ascertain that a company, for example, here has the Pressure Equipment Directive EU license, you can click through and it would deep link you to the web page that declare the capability. So we also save you that, we don't send you to the homepage of the website where you have to dig around, I'll have to say it carefully, to find a certificate declaration page. We actually deep link you to that actual page. I'll demo in a bit. And if you see the bright star, it means that we got the information from a third-party website, like the Small Business Bureau website, or sometimes very rarely you see this little chat box. It means that we got the information from the suppliers themselves. So let me show you what I mean again on the live site, right? So we have Chicago nuts and bolts that I kind of demonstrated for Peter. We saw how we could generate a supplier report from this. But when you scroll to the bottom right here, let me zoom in a little bit, you will see that there is a certification icon here. And I just kind of clicked the icon and it opened a new tab for me. Within this tab, you actually can see the certification, including the number, when it's expiring, and even the signature of the compliance approver right at your fingertip. And let's just, as we say in the UK for shits and giggles, am I recorded? Sorry, Dave. Producer always have to deal with my weird sense of humor. Hi, Dave. And you can see the certificate of compliance as well from Chicago Nuts and Bolts. So again, if you have like your local ERP or supplier vendor management system, you can download all of the information, save as a copy, upload it into your database. We basically probably save you maybe 10 hours in like going through 16 suppliers on website, but structurally organize the information into one page for you. Oh yeah, Mary, these are incredible. Yeah, thank you. I'm curious now how Thomas make money to keep the resources going. Great question. So as I openly share at the beginning, when you look at thomasnet.com and you see the search results, we partner with our manufacturers. So when you are verified or registered, or you saw the factory tour video, we actually are paid to be the marketer for the manufacturers. So in a way, we're a bit like Yelp, when you try to look for the best sushi or dumpling restaurant, restaurants have to bid or spend advertising to be, featured by Yelp. That's how we make money. Yep, I hope that answers your question. And also, as I mentioned, being the technical partner of the industrial space, we are the e-commerce backbone for some of the world's biggest manufacturers. So in a way, see Thomas as a marketing agency, a tech solution, and a sales partner for manufacturers. So let me swing back, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about let me see, okay, we talked about the videos. Yep, now this is the best part for the supplier evaluation nerds out there. So I'm going to swing back to my demo. I just wanted to talk you through a few things, right? you may get to a point of, hey, Kath, I really like, the shortlist that you show me. I apply the filters. And now I have maybe about 3 to 10 suppliers I really like. And if I use Google, I have to create a Google spreadsheet or, an Excel file to copy and paste all the data, and it's really painful. How can you help me? So this is my favorite feature on Thomas. Let's say, okay, I went through the Chicago certification. They seem like a really good partner. They're small, but like kind of mighty. I don't want to work with a crazy large custom manufacturer because they're all really busy. So I really kind of like the supplier. You actually can click select. And if you pick a few suppliers that you went through, and let me pick one more that I wasn't previously saving, you actually can click the compare button. Now, thomasnet.com will open a new tab for you. And, some people like graphs and really cutesy thing. I just love data. So this is perfect for when you're on the go, super busy. You just want to, okay, I kind of browse them, who's who again. Here you can actually see the company name, all the information, how big they are, the sales, what certifications they are capable of, and all the supplier profile report. You can generate multiple of them by clicking multiple download button. You can even just click the send RFI. Whoops, sorry, this is deliberate, of course. You can then pick the company that you like while you're on this interface and click send RFI, and you can fill in this form and tell them what you're looking for. You can even upload any kind of CAT file or NDA. So this is really important, right? Like, Thomas, we are the matchmaker. We connect you to the buyer, but we cannot guarantee the suppliers will always 100% treat everything you said as private and confidential, because that is something that you need to request in your quote, just like how you source with any companies that you just met on the internet. So I strongly encourage you guys, if you have a prototype or if you have information that you think is proprietary, make sure you attach your NDA in the request for quotes. It's like, by opening this, responding to this, you're in compliance with a casual NDA. And we'd love if you can DocuSign the actual one, whatever you want to phrase it. And I'm sure you guys are more than capable in doing this. I just want to give you this really important tip. Okay, so right, Tony, yes. I might have missed it, but do you have the same resources for services? Yes, absolutely. So let me swing back, and I've been using a lot of the examples in terms of how we do comparison. I want to recap. So we went onto Thomas, we search many products like bearings, gaskets. So now let's talk about services, right? I'm seeing from our latest research, assembly services are really in high demand. So I'm just going to click assemblies and filter it down to the 5,000 something manufacturers we have on the platform. So here it can be many things, but Tony, for your specific needs, like I can actually use company type as a filter, and I can actually check and filter assemblies services into 251 suppliers. Yes. And Wally also is like, can you redo the company comparison? Perfect. So now I love it. So Wally and Tony, I'm combining your use cases. So say Tony is like, okay, now I want to make my own organic olive oil. I found, a few companies that can really help me out. So I'm going to select a company close to me right here, a turnkey assembly solution. And I'll pick, another production shop, small enough, love it. And a California, this one actually, bear with me, oh, sorry, I selected, yes. So we can only allow you to select no more than 5 companies at a time. So that's something that you need to be aware of. And I'll pick one more so you can see, okay, now I have 3 companies at the bottom. You click the compare button and we generate the report for you, Ollie. So this is how you do the comparison. And we don't have a lot of time, so I want to make sure that I kind of get to the final really important part that I alert to, which is the fact that you can download all the data. So let's say I am looking at the assembly companies and I've selected all of them. You can actually add them to the shortlist. So at the bottom, I want to make sure you see where my mouse is. There's a shortlist button. And I'm going to just type in any name you want to call this. I'm going to call it, food assembly. I'm going to name it after you, Tony. So honorary Thomas employee now. Save to shortlist. So now I can click view shortlist, and it's going to ask me to log in. Oh, I might have a cookie issue. Let's see. So let's say I have a separate issue, but guys, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have 3 accounts on Thomas, I do. But let's say this is the food shortlist that I just created. I can click the download button. Sorry, I just kicked my shelves. And what just happened is that I was able to download my shortlist, and actually it looks like this. So let me expand into full screen. And once you actually save the companies that you wanted to work with into your shortlist and you click the download button, we spit out a CSV file to you, and you can use it however you want. You can see the company URLs, the location, the phone number, the same thing you saw, the table, sales, and all the other structured data. Yep. And as I said, you can choose up to 5 companies at a time and add them to your shortlist, but there's no limit as to how many companies you can add to one shortlist, and you can download the shortlist as you're building it whenever you want. So I wanted to make sure we spend the last 7 minutes on something important, which is then how do you connect with the suppliers? So using the examples that we've just been through, I like all these 3 companies, and I'm Tony, and I want to actually talk to one of these companies, right? So you can actually just click the request a quote button. And as you already saw in the previous screen, you can then type in, I like to start an assembly line. When do you need a response? Type to the suppliers, finish everything. If you need NDA, mention it here. And remember, sometimes I notice for American manufacturers, they don't always respond to email really quickly because a lot of them are small business. They might be busy in the machine shop, right? Always, if you don't hear from them, keep a record with the short list you just download, and then pick up the phone and call to follow up. So at some point, we'll build new technologies that are more mobile enabled, and we believe it's going to increase the matchmaking rate. But right now, as buyers, one really important tip is do a follow up, and you'll be surprised of the response rate. Now, I already mentioned how you can search, evaluate, and connect on Thomas, right? A quick recap: you can download the data, and you can send, multiple quotes if you need to. I'm just going to really share with you one crazy use case, and a lot of it has happened because of the pandemic. If you're given a custom part that you've never heard of, never sourced, or a new chemicals, if you work in FCG, you actually can use a special feature called custom quotes. So let me swing to, again, the homepage of Thomas, where all the great things begin. If you're looking for suppliers, you can just type in a box. But if you go to this filter and click custom quotes, we actually have a crazy form that is connected to our team of engineers. Again, at no cost to you, you can fill in a form, tell us about your requirements, and where do you want the job to be? Is it a production run? Is it a prototype? I don't know. Then tell us what you're looking for, and if you have NDA or if you have CAT drawing, you can attach it. And our team will try to make sure we give you up to 5 suppliers that we think, based on our 123 years of expertise, that can help with your need. So yeah, I think I need to see Mary. Yes, are there any reviews from other people? Yeah, we don't have that right now, but it's a really important feature. I think eventually we're interested in launching more peer kind of third-party reviews on our manufacturers. So really good feedback, Mary. Now, I'm just going to circle back and recap on all the Thomas features because we covered a lot today. Let's do a quick recap. So when you join this call, I said there are 3 important features of Thomas. You can search, evaluate, and connect with suppliers. So when it comes to searching Thomas, you will be able to see 560,000 company profiles. You can access our structured data. You can use the advanced search filters to find the suppliers you want within clicks, right? And also remember, you can select up to 5 manufacturers at a time to click the compare button, the lower green button, to really find the suppliers that you like in a table, look at them, generate reports if you want. You also can click the suppliers, again, 5 at a time, to add them to a short list. But once you create a short list, you can add infinite amount of suppliers, and you can export all the data into a CSV file and you can upload it into your Ariba or whatever tools you use. And remember, when in doubt, come to Thomas, find custom quotes, it's on their homepage, find supplier custom quotes, upload your brief, and our team, we're here on standby for you. And finally, I think a few of you may ask, hey, Kath, sounds like helping suppliers get discovered is one thing you do, but what else do you do? I kind of alert to that. In a way, Thomas has been an advocate for manufacturing in the USA and Canada for over a century. We create a lot of in-depth technical guide. For those of you who are part of the Department of Defense supply chain, you might be scratching your head. You're like, oh, I need to do the CMMC compliance certification, which is all about cybersecurity. Fear not, we actually created a 3,000-word article in helping you figure this out. So anytime you have any questions, type on thomasnet.com. We have in-depth guide for you. And also, if you want to stay in touch, you want to hang out with us, definitely subscribe to the Thomas Industry Update newsletter. You might already get it for free. It just really is a great platform for academics and people in the industry on a daily basis. Read it before you go to work and you would be the smartest person in the boardroom. It really kind of sums up all the latest stories in supply chain and all the research that we're doing. And finally, so I didn't have a chance to tell you guys my original career was in academics, so I love data and research. I study how Wikipedia made the world a better place through trust. So with manufacturing as a community, things are really tough, right? Supply chain's insane, so hard to hire people, so hard to source anything. So I'm actually creating a fabric of community by pushing a lot of surveys. You may have gotten a few, and if you can help me fill in the latest COVID-19 survey, which is the 6th survey, that'd be great, where I will analyze and create a super in-depth report with Mariah. Again, at no cost to you, you will see what are the biggest struggles for all of your peers by industry, but also we love to share how they overcome the struggles, so you get some tips as well. And for this 6th survey, I'm actually planning to organize some private, executive, invitation only, debriefing, intimate sort of water cooler events. So if you sign up to it, I'll keep an eye out on you, and I'll make sure you get invited as well. So that really is the end of it. Like, I wish this is longer, and I am on LinkedIn. You can see my email, and I love to hear from you guys.